All right, so no Nathan MacKinnon, no problem. Not entirely, but still pretty darn good. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli, with another episode of the podcast dedicated to your Colorado Avalanche. And the Avalanche are 1-0-0, and that's exactly what you wanted coming out of game number one. Home crowd. Uh, I don't want to say all the pressure on you, but if you had lost this game, like I said the other day, with Tampa losing the way that they lost, there's grumblings, and there shouldn't be. The same thing would have happened with the Colorado Avalanche if they had not played well, if they had come out on the wrong side of this. That did not happen, and the Avalanche made sure it didn't happen right from the beginning. So we will get to all of it and break it all down: who did good, who didn't do so good, what needs to be improved. And it's only one game, but it's still a win. First things first, follow the show on social media outlets. LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, go to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com and follow the show on the YouTube channel. Just search for Locked On Avalanche on YouTube and subscribe and get notified when any new episode goes up. So, yeah, overall, you have to be happy with the way the Avalanche played. Came out firing, and I'm not saying they watched what happened in Tampa. Maybe they did. I'm sure a lot of guys did. There's only 2 games on day 1. I'm sure a lot of them were anxious to watch hockey just like all of us were, and maybe a lot of them were surprised how flat Tampa came out. And it wouldn't surprise me if they said something to the effect of that can't be us. Yeah, this is the first game of the season. Yeah, there's going to be some rust on some players, like Cale Makar. But overall, we have to set the tone early. And that's exactly what they did. 3 goals. We'll get to specific stats, but 3 goals in the first 10 minutes. And I don't know who out there, follows the show on Twitter or follows any Avalanche accounts on Twitter. But there's the hashtag Avs Twitter Psychic, which is run by the I can't think of I don't know who the account is off the top of my head, but it's another show out there where they do this, and they you just guess who the first player to score a goal for the Avalanche is going to be in that particular game. I am willing to bet next to nobody put Jack Johnson down. um, and I don't know if anybody else is going to put him down for the rest of the season. So, but he did. He got the first Avs goal. It was a not a fluke play, just bad defense by Chicago. That two or it looked at first like 2 players kind of tripped over each other, but it was just one guy was out of position and the other guy tripped over himself, which left wide open ice for Jack Johnson of all of people, and he made a nice deke move and went to his backhand and flipped it right over Fleury's glove, which is not easy to do. He looked like a scorer on that play. He looked like someone who's ready to score 100 points in the season with that play. Don't get me wrong, that is not going to happen. But he looked on that specific play to get the crowd into it, to get the goal scoring going. 5 minutes in, I think it was 4.5 in, but that got it going. And then Gabe Landeskog, about a minute and 20 seconds later, gets another one. And then Bowen Byram with an absolute laser, which went right over the shoulder of Fleury. And that was Byram's first career goal. What a shot from that guy. Um, and after that, you were like, man, is this going to be just is Chicago going to be able to stop this at any point of the game? They needed to come out, game number 1, and you're the road team. you know everybody's 0-0-0, and when you're playing their first game on the road, you have to weather the storm because that home crowd is going to be fired up. You would assume the home team is going to be fired up, and Chicago didn't do that, and that was their undoing because especially with this Avalanche team to get off to a start like that is the last thing Chicago wanted and the first thing the Avalanche wanted. So, the Avalanche typically start off seasons a little bit on the slow side. They're not that they haven't been that team. They did it once under Patrick Waugh. I think they started 6-0-0, which is their best start ever. But they're typically a team that comes out, they'll win a couple, then lose one, then win one, then lose one before they start to get going. And you can see it on the ice. You can see that where the improvements need to be made. And you could see that tonight too. There are some improvements that the Avalanche do have to tackle over the next couple games before the Saturday game against St. Louis. But the one thing that was not glaring, which typically is at this early stage in the season, is passing. Sometimes the passing isn't really there. It's a little bit behind a guy, a little bit in front of the guy, and that's going to happen naturally over the course of a season, no matter if it's the first game or the 68th game. But I was surprised at how crisp and clean a lot of the passing was by the Avalanche tonight or last night now. They looked good. They looked like they came ready to play. And when you're down your head coach, who always emphasizes that, his catchphrase is compete level. And when he's not there, you better believe he told the team, I am going to be watching you, and I will have a good vantage point of your compete level. So you better bring it. And they brought it. So they didn't. Another thing that I liked, they didn't hesitate. When they had an open shot and a look, they took it. And how many times in the past have we said the Avalanche like to get too cute with things? They have all the talent in the world, and they try to make those highlight reel plays and highlight reel goals to show up on SportsCenter, which it will now because it's on ESPN. Um, and they did that far too often to the point they got called out on it a lot by the media and by Bednar in press conferences. They didn't do that last night. If they had an opening, they were taking it. And I think you have to do that on a guy like Fleury. You have to do that on any goalie. Let's get real. But a guy like Fleury, if you're making a cross ice pass, it has to be bang, bang and get it on net. Because even if you don't score, obviously rebounds happen. If you have the other guys in position, they can clean up the mess. So you hear it all the time. Good things happen when you throw pucks at the net. And that is what the Avalanche did. Everything was going swimmingly. You had that lull in the second, which the Avalanche couldn't have sustained that type of pressure the entire game. One, because it's just difficult to do, and two, because Chicago is going to make adjustments to stop you from doing that, which they did. And Chicago looked a little bit better in the second, but they still managed to eke out a goal. I'm pretty sure it was Kadri in the second. Yep, he was the lone goal in the second period. And Chicago was starting to play better, but nothing was getting through. And that's because Darcy Keumper was a madman. And I think it's only taken one game for people to forget the name Philip Grubauer. And I don't mean that as a slight to Grubauer, but there was a lot of questions on could Kemper be the guy? And there's still going to be people that have questions about that. You're going to have to play the duration of a season for people to really take a step back and really take a look at what he's done over the course of the season. I get that. But after one game and how he played, Avalanche got a lead, and he made sure it wasn't going anywhere. And the two goals he gave up were just phenomenal goal-scoring goals. Both hit. I think one hit the crossbar and the other hit the post. So both goals clinked iron. and they were phenomenal shots. One was on the power play. I don't think the other one was. Let me double check. No. The one in the third by Connor Murphy was not on the power play, but the first one by Kubalik was on the power play, and that was just, you're not going to stop that. And all the other goals or shots that he should have stopped, he pretty much did, including breakaways. And that was the one rub on Grubauer. He's not good on breakaways, and he wasn't good on penalty shots. Even though the Avalanche didn't have a lot of penalty shot games last year, that's a downside for him. This is not an issue. It's less of an issue for Darcy Keumper. We'll get more into that. But first, we want to hear from Bet Online. And we are back and better than ever as all eyes are on the gridiron. The teams are back on the field for another football season. And as always, Bet Online is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this year. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, prop bets, and contests, Bet Online continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up, and you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. And don't forget to use that promo code Locked On to get your bonus from football, basketball, boxing. Obviously, hockey is back in action from or to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. Bet Online, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. Where the game starts at betonline.ag. All right, so let's get into some of the specifics here. For the Avs, 36 shots on goal compared to the Blackhawks 34. And that's an indication of the game tightening, because after one, it was 19-8 in favor of the Avalanche. So did the Avs continue to play their game? They got away from the pressure that they were putting on Chicago. And it's tough to say right now if it was them just playing, you're up 3-0. Did they just go into more of a defense mode? It's not like they just completely backed off. Or was it Chicago kind of changing their mindset and needing to play a different game? Could be a combination of those things. The power play is the one area where it was glaring Nathan MacKinnon was not there. Because after those first 3 goals in less than 10 minutes, I think everybody was forgetting Nathan MacKinnon wasn't even on the ice. But as the game went on, I did anyway. I'm thinking to myself, man, a Nathan MacKinnon burst of speed right here would be, just to get the crowd that, when he just gets a full head of steam and then the crowd just starts like standing up. Oh, what's he going to do? We didn't have that. And there's really no player on the ice outside of Cale Makar who can really do that. Maybe Burakovsky if he gets a good head of steam. Rantanen's not built that way. So maybe Logan O'Connor, who played a very good game, by the way. But MacKinnon's your guy. That's who you turn to when you want that moment. So they when the game kind of went down into that, it started to slow down a little bit. That's when you're looking for Nathan MacKinnon. But it was absolutely glaring on the power play. They didn't have much. A couple good chances here and there, but nothing where you could see it like developing. When Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen are power play together, and you can just see a play forming a couple seconds before it happens. You just didn't have that. And when you have JT Compher being the guy, playing the slingshot role, he can do it, but people fear Nathan MacKinnon coming through those zones. They're not fearing Comfort like they are MacKinnon. So and because of that, the power play was 0 for 4, where the Blackhawks were 1 for 3. Like I said, that Kubalik one was solid. As far as individual stats go, who played well? Who I don't think anybody played like awful. Who we got here? All right, Kadri with 1-1, Landeskog with 1-1, Burakovsky with an assist, Rantanen with an assist, Nichushkin with an assist, Jack Johnson with that first goal of the season, Byram with 1-1, and Eric Johnson with an assist. So Bowen Byram played fantastic. He played like he is as advertised. Once the rest of the defense gets once Cale Makar gets his legs and his game conditioning set, and once Devon Taves comes back, and he might need a couple games to do that exact same thing, get his legs and get his conditioning, game conditioning set. When you have man, and you say it out loud, and then it's really scary once it gets to the point where like, yeah, these guys are settled in, and you have Makar and Taves and Byram and Gerard and Eric Johnson. It's just, you know, good luck. Good luck. So Cale Makar was a little off tonight, and that's to be expected. Still played over 22 minutes, but this was his first action. So he just looked a little off, like not real comfortable. I mean, I don't want to say uncomfortable with the puck, but it wasn't coming naturally for him like it normally does. I don't think anybody has any concern about that whatsoever. But you could tell, like, yeah, he needs to get this game under his belt over with, and I'm sure that's all he needs is just this game, and you will see a much different Cale Makar on Saturday against St. Louis. Um, Nichushkin, I thought played well. He played hard. The young line, the Jost, Ranta, and New Hook line was kind of quiet very early in the game. I thought they started to play a little bit better as the game went into the later stages, but in the beginning, I thought New Hook was just ghost. He only played 10 and a half minutes compared to Jost's almost 16, and Ranta played just shy of 12. So I thought they got going, but New Hook, I was looking for him so many times and I couldn't. He wasn't doing too much. Um, but Logan O'Connor, I thought he played a great game. I think Logan O'Connor is going to be playing a lot more minutes as this season goes on, because the first shot of the game, I think it was the first shot of the game, he took a wrister from just above the dots. I don't think Fleury was expecting someone like him to take a shot like that, and it pinged off of the upright. If I'm assuming if you were there, it was deafening, but that was an absolute laser, which didn't go in. I really liked his game tonight. I did. He does need to be a little bit more consistent and have consistent shifts, because there are times where he's non-existent as well. But he's on a fourth line. I mean, he only got 10 minutes. What did I say he had? Where is it? Yeah, just over 10. Personally, I think he needs more than that. I think he's earning that. So overall, I don't think there was anything really glaring. I thought Darren Helm played a very good game, took a really nasty hit, but he seemed to come back. That's one of the ones where it's like he comes back and plays, and now that the game is over and he goes home and he takes a rest and he wakes up in the morning, it's hurting a little bit more. So I would maybe keep an eye on the Avalanche website or Twitter page if anything's going on with Darren Helm. This was a physical game. Where's the hits? Wow. I thought there was a lot more than that. They have the Avs down for 25 and the Blackhawks down for 17. If there's any question on the Avalanche being a physical team or more of a physical team, more than answered last night. And it's with guys like both Johnson and Johnson. Um, you obviously you have Kadri, but the real question is Gabe Landeskog. He was not a happy man last night, and it was to his detriment. So we'll talk about that right after Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing number of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. So save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Their prices are reliably low, and they're for every customer. They have everything you could need from brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. So go explore their easy to use website today and find the solution for your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or truck, right locked on in the How Did You Hear About Us section so they know that we sent you to them. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. So, Gabe Landeskog, I put up on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter, I always put up a poll after any win and ask, who is your locked on player of the game? And I had it ready to go for Jack Johnson, Bowen Byram, Gabe Landeskog, and Darcy Keumper. And if you want to go on right now, you can vote on that, LOPN_Avalanche. But with a little over 4 minutes to go, I removed Gabe Landeskog and inserted Nazem Kadri. And they had the same stats as far as, 2 points. I think Kadri was a +2 and Landeskog was a +3, but they both had a goal and an assist. And the reason I removed Nathan MacKinnon, Gabe Landeskog, is because he put a very dangerous and unnecessary hit on a Chicago Blackhawk player. I think it was Kirby Dach, if I'm not mistaken. I'm almost positive it was Kirby Dach. See if I can find it. Yes, it was Kirby Dach. Gabe Landeskog was on a mission when that play was developing. He was in their own zone. He tried to hit another Chicago Blackhawk player up against the boards. He didn't get him clean. When he turned around, it seemed like he was either chirping at a player or a ref. Something must have happened before the hit on Dach where Landeskog was not a happy camper. Fine. It's all well and good. What you don't want to do is what he did. Dach had possession of the puck. He was going through the neutral zone, got tripped up a little bit. So he still had control of the puck as he was down on like one knee. And he's kind of gliding on that one knee and he's going towards the boards. And Landeskog just unloads on him and a very dangerous hit where Dach's head goes into the boards. He got a misconduct, I believe, for that. I mean, there's only 4.5 minutes left. So we got a boarding call. You got a boarding call for that. And let's see. I want to find Landeskog's penalty minutes here. No, yeah, he got just a boarding call, but he was out. He went right to the locker room. And the game was not secure then. It was a 4-2 game. There's 4.5 minutes left at the time when he did that. And now you put a guy's health in jeopardy, and now you put your team in jeopardy and a win in jeopardy. Because what did Chicago do? They pulled Fleury. Now you got 6-on-4, which, now the Avs can at least ice the puck and not get called because you're on the you're on the penalty kill. But still, that's they're 6-on-4 and 4.5 minutes left, and you're only up by 2. So, it didn't obviously result in any more goals. But the big issue here is I think Gabe Landeskog is going to get a call from player safety. Was it a suspendable hit? I got to be honest. It's towing the line. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You could probably just watch. I don't know if it'll. I'm sure people are resourceful. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere or Twitter or wherever. Dangerous hit, very dangerous hit. So we might be getting Nathan MacKinnon back on Saturday if he can test out and he comes up with a negative test. But there's a possibility Gabe Landeskog might not be here for a game. They might bench him for a game because he has a history. He does have a history of this where he gets a little too aggressive and he lets the anger take over him, and he'll do something like that. He's got to know better than that, especially when you're down, your superstar and your team needs you. And the game is not, whether or not the game was in doubt or not is really not the issue. Wouldn't have mattered if the Avalanche were up 6-0. You still don't do that. So I think Dach was okay. I don't know what the outcome of that was, but we'll see. And as I'm looking at my phone, I'm getting notifications about that hit specifically. Not that the Avalanche won the game, getting those two, but there's one, questionable hit by Landeskog. Um, I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow. I know they're going to be talking to him. I know they are. So this is not what you want for the Avalanche. You started the game great, as well as you could possibly start a game and the season. And then the rest of the game was a fight. It was a dogfight. And you're going to expect that from a team like the Blackhawks. And for the most part, you weathered their storm. It wasn't much, but they tried. They gave it to you, and you shut it down. The Kadri goal was big in the second. And then, you caught their last flurry at the end, which you shut down. But it shouldn't have happened that way. It shouldn't have happened that way because Landeskog can't do stuff like that. So, what's this all mean? It all boils down to we're 1-0-0, and that's the most important thing right now. So now you have a couple of days off. We'll get word on Landeskog. We'll get word on MacKinnon. We'll get word on Bednar, and maybe all three of them will be back for Saturday against St. Louis. You can count on Bednar being back. I would almost guarantee that. I think the odds are in the favor of MacKinnon returning, and I'm still up in the air with Gabe Landeskog right now, maybe missing a game because of that hit. Not good. Let me know what you think. Shoot me an email or send me a message on Twitter if you disagree with me. But that will be it, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. It's always appreciated. Definitely go check out Locked On NHL, where Adam and I start our power rankings. Not just ours; it's the leagues or the Locked On NHL Network's side of the network. All the hosts that host the NHL shows are voting on power rankings. So each and every week on Thursday, the show that Adam and I do, we will bring you the latest and greatest power rankings from across Locked On NHL. So that one is out now as well. So go check that out for your second listen. But thank you for making this your first listen and tuning in each and every day. It is always greatly appreciated. So we will see everyone tomorrow. Any news that happens to come around, we'll be talking about it. And overall, good solid win by the Avs. Have a good one, everybody. We will see you